What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at some of our games that are coming up tomorrow for Estoril as well as Kitzbühel. And I want to talk about some of these matchups and where I'm looking to find value in some of these. So let's get right to it. If you want to have all these plays to yourselves, come and see. I have them fully for free here on my X account at MattFolio Research. And let's get started with the first one. So Bublik versus Etcheverry at Kitzbühel. Let me just pull up some data here. So this match is what most people are going to be watching. Alexander Bublik against, Tomas Etcheverry. Bublik is the defending champion here. He has been through matches this week, and he hasn't dropped a single set. When his serve is landing here, I'm seeing like he can end points before the rally starts, and I would say that's his biggest weapon even on clay. Etcheverry is the better pure clay player if you look at it like that. He moves better, he absorbs pace better, he can stay in, I would say, points longer. And bear in mind, like he already has a title on clay. That's one thing to bear in mind. I think it was in Rio. So that's another thing to consider. And he's played cleaner tennis this week. If you've watched any of those matches, he's playing very cleanly, and he's in good form. So they've played twice. Bublik won both games, one on hard and one on clay. Both matches were tight, so the head-to-head doesn't exactly scare me for Etcheverry, but it does tell me that Bublik knows how to win big points against him. So that is one thing to consider. And to make these trades, I'm using a model that I built that I used to trade stock options on, and it's been profitable with tennis. Here are some of the trade examples that I've had that I post on my Twitter. But I have Bublik at around 58%, and Etcheverry sits at 42%. Current lines have Bublik at 61%, so there is, I guess, a little bit of a edge towards Etcheverry, but I personally am going to sit this one out. The lines are way too close, and it doesn't really feel like a strong play in terms of conviction. So next up we have Hanfmann versus Halys, or Halys. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. They're playing Kitzbühel as well. This is the second semi that they've had against each other in terms of matchups. I'm looking here, so I know that Hanfmann is 34 years old, so he's been around forever. He reached a final here before, I'm looking here, and he knows, I would say he probably knows how to play this court. If you know his play style, he's not a very flashy player, and he rarely beats himself on clay. But I mean, I'm looking here, his movement and consistency are solid. And then we have Halys, and he's been kind of the story of the week. He took out a couple better ranked players, and he looks very confident on the court. He looks very, very confident. And he has real weapons, especially that, the first strike, but he can also, spray when pressure builds. And they've played twice in terms of matchups before. Halys won both, but, these are old. It's old info. It doesn't mean that much now. This match, feels closer than the first one. I have Hanfmann at 54% and Halys at 46%. There is a bit of value toward Halys. I think Halys could win this in terms of, just surface and experience, but there's not a big enough edge, I would say, to force a position here. So up next, we have Torres versus Gaston. This one I'm skipping completely, but for some analysis, Torres is a local wild card. He beat Tabilo in straight sets, which was a huge shocker for many because Tabilo was, I think, favored by like 1-10 ratio or 9-10 ratio. Like he was at 90%. So Torres is a wild card. He's, outside of the 400s in terms of rankings. And the crowd's gonna be fully behind this guy. Estoril is in Portugal, if you didn't know, and I don't know. He's playing without fear. Gaston is more of the experienced tour player. This is a known thing. I'm looking here. He's been around top 100 for a while, and I would say overall he knows how to close matches at this level. But the one thing is that he's inconsistent. He's also very capable of like super flat performances. So. This one is pure variance. The model that I have puts them almost dead even, 51% Gaston, 49% Torres. I'm skipping this one completely. There's too many unknowns. I would recommend you do as well. And the home crowd factor makes it very messy. Okay, this is the one that I'm looking to take position on. This one is Burruchaga versus Blockx, and this is in Estoril for the quarterfinals. So Uh, this last match is the one I like the most from like a pure probability standpoint. For Burruchaga against Blockx. I'm looking here, like, so Burruchaga leads a head-to-head 2-0. One of those wins was on clay, and he's a grinder who thrives in longer matches. This is a known thing about Argentinian Burruchaga. This week he already took out Wawrinka and Nuno Borges, so his form is good. Blockx is a little tricky. He almost lost on a third set in a tiebreak against this one French player. I forgot his name. I believe it was yesterday or the day before. So the problem with him is, yes, he's a great player, but in my opinion, he's still young and he can get pulled into physical battles on clay that I feel like he's not always fully ready for. So my model has Burruchaga at 56% and Blockx at 44%. It's not a massive edge, but I would say that of all of these, I would take Burruchaga moneyline. So, I mean, if anything changes on the boards before the match starts, I have it all updated here on my X account. But yeah, not too much going on. The only one I really like is, Burruchaga to beat Blockx here. The rest are purely just variants. I'm leaning slightly Halys as well for a possible upset. But I would say those are my two big ones. Things may change, and I'll post those. But yeah, that's kind of the analysis for ATP that we have going on tomorrow or today in European time if you're watching that early. So, yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with the next analysis.